Admiral Kira Patel stood at the viewport of the EFS Vigilant, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched the approaching alien vessel. Its crystalline structure caught Sol's light, creating rainbow refractions that would have been beautiful if they weren't so tactically idiotic. No military commander would design a ship that announced its presence across half a solar system. "Another member of the We Come in Peace Club," muttered Commander James Okonjo from his tactical station. "Their shield harmonics are barely strong enough to deflect micrometeorites." Patel nodded, her augmented eyes zooming in on the vessel's obvious structural weaknesses. After 30 years in Earth's Defense Force, she developed an instinct for threat assessment. This ship, despite its massive size, rated somewhere between floating art installation and target practice. The alien vessel, calling itself the Harmony of Eternal Light, had dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Their first transmission had been a symphony of colors and mathematical equations that Earth's AI translated as an invitation to join something called the Etherian Collective. "Status of the defense grid?" Patel asked, though she already knew the answer. The question was habit, drilled into her since her days as a cadet. "All platforms cloaked and tracking, Admiral," Okonjo replied. "Ghost Fleet is in position. The aliens haven't detected any of our actual military assets. Only the Vigilant and 2 other outdated cruisers remained visible, playing the role of Earth's primary defense force. The real fleet, hundreds of state-of-the-art warships, waited in the quantum shadows, invisible even to humanity's most advanced sensors. The alien ship's next transmission carried visuals of their representatives. The Etherians appeared almost ethereal tall, luminescent beings with flowing robes and elaborate crown-like structures that seemed to be part of their anatomy. Their leader, who called himself First Light Harbinger Luminaris, spoke in flowing passages about peace, cultural exchange, and the glory of their 10,000-year-old civilization. Patel fought the urge to roll her eyes. "Tactical analysis of their biology?" Lieutenant Diana Rossi, the ship's xenobiologist, pulled up her preliminary report. "Their bioluminescence suggests an evolutionary path that never required camouflage or stealth. No natural predators for millions of years. Their skeletal structure would shatter under even Earth-normal gravity. They've engineered their environment to eliminate all threats rather than adapt to them. Beautiful," Patel said, "and completely helpless. Like crystal sculptures with faster-than-light drives." She tapped her neural link, connecting to Earth Defense Command. "EDC, this is Patel. Requesting permission to proceed with Protocol 7. The response came immediately. "Granted. Show them why they should run." Patel allowed herself a small smile. "Mr. Okonjo, power up our actual shields. Let's show our visitors what real military technology looks like." The Vigilant's ceremonial hull plates retracted, revealing layers of metamaterial armor. Shield generators that had been running at 2% capacity spun up to full power, creating a gravitational distortion visible to the naked eye. The Etherian ship recoiled, its transmission becoming erratic. "Honored humans, we detect concerning power fluctuations. Is your vessel experiencing difficulties?" "No difficulties," Patel replied. "Just dropping the masquerade. Lieutenant Rossi, demonstrate the Thanatos Protocol." A single missile launched from the Vigilant. The Etherians didn't even bother raising their decorative shields, apparently assuming a single projectile posed no threat. The missile split into 1,000 autonomous drones, each carrying enough firepower to level a small city. They surrounded the alien vessel in a perfect sphere of death. "This is Admiral Kira Patel of the Earth Defense Force," she broadcast. "What you're seeing is less than 1% of our actual military capability. We appreciate your peaceful intentions, but humanity learned long ago that peace without strength is just vulnerability wearing fancy clothes." The Etherean ship's lights flickered in what their cultural database suggested was extreme distress. But we bring enlightenment, art, philosophy. The collective has known nothing but peace for 10,000 years. Then you've been lucky, Patel replied. The universe isn't peaceful, it's just that nothing has found you worth fighting yet. Consider this a warning from humanity. Learn to defend yourselves, or eventually, something will come along that doesn't appreciate your art. As if to emphasize her point, the Ghost Fleet decloaked for exactly 3 seconds. Over 500 warships, each more advanced than the Vigilant, rippled into view around the Etherean vessel before vanishing again. Tell your leaders this, Patel continued. Humanity is willing to be your ally, your trade partner, even your friend. But we will not be your subjects, and we won't watch you remain helpless in a dangerous galaxy. The choice is yours. Learn why we build warships, or pray you never need them. The Etherean vessel retreated, its crystal hull vibrating in frequencies that suggested their entire crew was experiencing collective shock. As they vanished into FTL, Patel turned to her crew. Send word to command, she ordered. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The Etherians needed their wake-up call. Now let's see if they're smart enough to hear it. Commander Okonjo studied his readings. Do you think they'll listen, Admiral? Patel watched the quantum wake of the retreating vessel. They better. Because I've seen what's lurking in the dark between the stars, Commander. And it's a lot less friendly than we are. The Etherian High Council's chamber on their homeworld of Luminera Prime had never seen such chaos. The crystalline walls, usually pulsing with calm blues and greens, now flickered with anxious reds and oranges as council members argued over the humans' display of military power. Impossible! Supreme Light Bearer Celestus slammed his translucent hand against the floating pedestal. No civilized species maintains such barbaric capabilities. The humans must be using illusions, tricks to intimidate us. First Light Harbinger Luminaris, still shaken from his encounter with Admiral Patel, projected memories of the Earth fleet directly into the council chamber. These were no illusions, Supreme One. Their weapons could have destroyed our ship 1,000 times over. They chose not to. Then we must show them the true way of peace, Celestus declared. Prepare the Great Enlightenment Fleet. We will demonstrate our cultural superiority in such overwhelming numbers that these humans will have no choice but to recognize our wisdom. Luminaris felt his bioluminescence dim with dread. Supreme One, I must advise against. The decision is made. 3 days later, 5,000 Etherean vessels emerged from FTL near Jupiter. Each ship was a masterpiece of crystalline engineering, their hulls inscribed with poetry spanning millennia. Light shows capable of inducing spiritual enlightenment danced between the vessels. It was the largest gathering of Etherean ships in their history. Not a single one carried functional weapons. On the bridge of the EFS Vigilant, Admiral Patel watched the display with a mixture of disbelief and resignation. They really didn't listen, did they? Reading 5,000 vessels, Admiral, Commander Okonjo reported, all matching the previous design philosophy. They appear to be projecting art into space. Patel opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. EDC, this is Patel. The Etherians have escalated to aggressive enlightenment, requesting permission to execute Protocol Prometheus. There was a pause before EDC responded. Granted, Admiral. Show them the fire. Patel turned to her crew. Signal the fleet. Time to teach our glowing friends why humanity doesn't believe in unarmed vessels. The Etherean ships arranged themselves in a massive geometric pattern, their combined light show now visible from Earth's surface. Supreme Light Bearer Celestus broadcast on all frequencies. People of Earth, witness the glory of true civilization. 10,000 years of peace has led us to this moment of perfect harmony. Join us in enlightenment and leave behind your primitive ways of The transmission cut off as humanity's response began. It started with a subtle ripple in space as the quantum camouflage dropped. The Etherean fleet found itself surrounded by not hundreds, but thousands of human warships. The Ghost Fleet had been joined by the Deep Black Fleet, vessels so advanced they could hide in the gravity well of the star. "This is Admiral Patel to all Etherean vessels." Her voice was calm, almost sad. "You were warned. Now you'll understand why." The EFS Vigilant fired a single quantum torpedo. Instead of detonating, it split into millions of microscopic drones. They swarmed through the Etherean fleet, bypassing their ceremonial shields as if they didn't exist. Within seconds, every single Etherean ship lost power. In the darkness of space, 5,000 vessels worth more than some planets hung helpless, their crews experiencing true vulnerability for the first time in their civilization's history. What are you doing?" Celestus's voice trembled across the emergency channels. "Teaching," Patel replied. "Those drones could have destroyed your ships instead of disabling them. An actual enemy wouldn't have shown such restraint. Right now, you're experiencing what happens when someone with real power decides you're worth attacking." The human fleet moved with precision that spoke of centuries of military doctrine. Each disabled Etherean ship was tractored into a stable orbit, preventing collisions that could have destroyed the priceless vessels. "Listen carefully," Patel continued. "In 15 minutes, those drones will restore power to your ships. When they do, you have two choices. Return home and learn from this experience, or continue your enlightenment and find out what happens when we stop being gentle." In the High Council chamber, now lit only by emergency power, Celestus watched in horror as a human shuttle approached his flagship. The vessel was small, almost crude compared to Etherean aesthetics, but its armor could have withstood a direct hit from a small asteroid. Admiral Patel's voice came again. "I'm coming aboard, Supreme Lightbearer. We need to talk about the galaxy's real dangers and why humanity maintains its strength. Because what we just did, we're not the scariest thing lurking between the stars. We're just the ones trying to warn you about what is." As promised, 15 minutes later, the Etherean ships regained power. Their crews watched in stunned silence as the human fleet vanished back into quantum shadows, leaving behind only the Vigilant and a simple message. "Lesson 1 is complete. The galaxy doesn't care about your art if you can't protect it. Would you like to proceed to Lesson 2? For the first time in 10,000 years, the Etherean High Council voted unanimously. They needed to learn, or their 10 millennia of peace would become their civilization's epitaph. The Earth Defense Force Academy had never hosted alien students before. Yet here they stood 30 Etherean observers, trying not to flinch as training exercises shook the reinforced walls of the lecture hall. Commander Marcus Reeves, a veteran of the Proxima campaign, studied his unusual students. Their bioluminescent patterns showed anxiety, but also determination. That was good. They were finally learning. "Your civilization's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness," Reeves began, his cybernetic eyes scanning their reactions. "You eliminated conflict by eliminating the capacity for violence. But in doing so, you also eliminated your ability to resist it." First Light Harbinger Luminaris, now serving as the lead diplomatic observer, raised his crystalline hand. "But Commander, our historical records show that peace brought unprecedented advancement. Our art, our technology, our spiritual growth are worthless if you can't protect them," Reeves interrupted. "Computer, display historical file 847B. The holographic display activated, showing scenes from Earth's history. Wars, conflicts, but also the advancements they spawned. Medical breakthroughs born from battlefield necessity. Space technology developed for military applications now serving peaceful purposes. Humanity never chose war," Reeves continued. War chose us. We simply learned to survive it. And in learning to survive, we discovered something your civilization never has: the difference between peace and surrender. A warning klaxon sounded. The Etherians jumped, their crown-like structures flaring with alarm colors. Reeves smiled. Perfect timing. Follow me. He led them to the Academy's observation deck. Below, in a massive training ground, human forces were conducting exercises. Mechanized infantry moved in perfect coordination with aerial support. Energy weapons powerful enough to crack planets were wielded with surgical precision. Notice how every soldier moves, Reeves pointed out. Each step, each action has been refined by centuries of combat experience. We don't train for war because we want it. We train because the universe doesn't care what we want. Luminaris watched a squad of Marines neutralize a simulated threat without causing collateral damage to the surrounding training infrastructure. It's beautiful in its own way. Like a dance. The deadliest dance in existence. Reeves agreed. But here's what your people need to understand: we don't just practice destruction. Computer, show defense scenario 15. The training ground transformed. Now the human forces were protecting civilian populations, evacuating wounded, establishing safe zones. Every weapon, every tactic served a defensive purpose. This is why we maintained our military strength, Reeves explained. Not just to fight, but to protect. Peace through strength isn't about domination, it's about ensuring that those who would disturb the peace think twice before trying. Suddenly, alarms blared, real ones this time. Commander Reeves's neural link flashed urgent communications from Earth Defense Command. All observers to the secure bunker, he ordered. This isn't a drill. The Etherians, their training finally starting to show, moved quickly and calmly to the designated safe area. Through the bunker's quantum-reinforced windows, they watched as the Earth Defense Force mobilized with frightening efficiency. Commander, Luminaris asked, his voice steady despite his fluctuating bioluminescence. What's happening? Reeves checked the tactical feeds flowing through his neural link. We're detecting quantum wake signatures at the edge of the solar system. Big ones. And they don't match any known civilization's drive patterns. The Etherian Collective has cataloged all spacefaring species in our region of the galaxy, Luminaris offered. Perhaps we can help identify. All the peaceful ones, you mean? Reeves corrected. Tell me, in your 10,000 years of peace, did you ever wonder what happened to the species that weren't interested in joining your harmony? Before Luminaris could answer, space itself seemed to tear open at the edge of the solar system. The vessels that emerged were like nothing the Etherians had ever seen: black, angular shapes that seemed to devour light rather than reflect it. Battle stations, Reeves commanded through his neural link. All civilian ships to secure coordinates. Ghost Fleet, Deep Black Fleet, assume attack formation Delta. This is not a drill. The Etherian observers watched in awe as Earth's defense forces moved with practiced precision. Thousands of warships emerged from quantum shadows, taking positions around the planet and its colonies. Commander, Luminaris whispered. What are they? Reeves' cybernetic eye zoomed in on the approaching vessels. The reason we never stopped building weapons, First Light Harbinger. The reason we tried to warn your people. Some species don't want to join your harmony. Some don't want art or culture or peace. The alien ships accelerated toward Earth, their drives leaving trails of darkness in space itself. Some, Reeves concluded, just want to consume everything in their path. And now your people are going to learn why humanity never forgot how to fight. In the High Council chamber on Luminara Prime, the emergency transmissions from Earth caused the crystalline walls to pulse with colors of fear. For the first time in 10 millennia, the Etherian Collective faced a truth they had chosen to ignore. The galaxy had teeth, and humanity wasn't the predator they needed to fear. They were the only ones prepared to fight it. Would you like me to continue with Part 4? The story is building toward the revelation of a greater threat and humanity's role as not just warriors, but protectors of peace. The void ships, as humanity had dubbed them, moved like oil through water, distorting space around them. Earth's defense fleet held position, their weapons primed but not yet firing. Admiral Patel stood on the Vigilance bridge, her augmented eyes analyzing every detail of the approaching threat. "Analysis," she commanded. Commander Okonjo's fingers danced across his tactical display. 12 capital ships, each roughly 10 kilometers in length. Energy signatures suggest they're running on harvested stellar matter. Their hull composition, it's absorbing our scanning beams. They're not just consuming light, Lieutenant Rossi added from her science station. They're consuming information itself. These beings, they're information predators. The void ships suddenly halted their advance, hanging in space like tears in reality. A transmission cut through all frequencies, more static than signal. Patel's expression hardened. "Now we know what happened to all those species the Etherians couldn't enlighten. They didn't just disappear, they were eaten." In the Academy bunker, Commander Reeves and the Etherian observers watched the confrontation unfold. Luminaris's bioluminescence had dimmed to almost nothing. "Those ships," he whispered, "they match descriptions from our oldest records. Stories we dismissed as superstition. The Devourers of Light. You're not the first civilization to hide from them," Reeves said grimly. "But we humans never had that luxury. Our history, our conflicts, our endless preparation, it was all leading to this moment." The void ships launched what appeared to be projectiles. As they approached Earth's defense fleet, the projectiles revealed themselves as swarms of smaller craft, each one seeming to bend light around it. "Ghost Fleet, execute pattern Sigma," Patel ordered. "Deep Black Fleet, prepare the Prometheus protocols. Let's show them why humanity never stopped building weapons." The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. The void ship's technology was beyond anything humanity had faced, but Earth's forces had something the Devourers hadn't encountered in millennia: resistance. Quantum torpedoes pierced their light-absorbing shields. Metamaterial armor deflected their reality-distorting weapons. The Ghost Fleet's stealth systems proved effective against even their advanced sensors. But it wasn't enough. "Admiral," Okonjo reported, his voice tense. "They're adapting to our tactics. Their ships are learning." A void ship's beam caught a human cruiser, not destroying it but somehow erasing it from existence. No debris, no energy signature, just gone, as if it had never been. Patel opened a channel to Earth Defense Command. "EDC, requesting permission to execute Final Protocol Lazarus." The response was immediate. "Granted. God help us all." In the Academy bunker, Reeves received the alert through his neural link. He turned to the Etherian observers. "Watch carefully. You're about to see why we kept certain technologies hidden even from ourselves." The Vigilance hull began to transform. Layers of what appeared to be liquid metal flowed across its surface, forming new patterns, new configurations. Similar transformations rippled across the entire human fleet. "Nanite reconstruction complete," Okonjo announced. "Quantum consciousness integration at 100%. Patel's eyes glowed with internal light. "Begin the Ascension Protocol." The human ships didn't just attack, they evolved. Each blast from the void ships was analyzed, countered, and adapted to. The fleet moved with impossible coordination, as if guided by a single mind. "By the eternal light," Luminaris gasped. "Your ships, they're alive." "Not exactly," Reeves explained. "This is humanity's ultimate defense. We didn't just build better weapons, we became them. Every ship out there is now part of a quantum neural network, guided by the combined consciousness of its crew." The void ships launched another attack, but this time the human fleet was ready. They didn't just dodge, they predicted, countered, and struck back with weapons that seemed to rewrite the laws of physics. Submit/consume/evolve, the Devourers transmitted again. Wrong message, Patel responded, her consciousness now merged with her ship. Here's ours. Resist/survive/protect. The battle reached its climax as the human fleet, now moving with organic fluidity, executed a maneuver that should have been impossible. They created a quantum resonance field that turned the void ships' light-consuming nature against them. One by one, the massive black vessels began to collapse in on themselves, their own technology becoming their prison. The few that attempted to retreat found their quantum drives disabled by precisely calculated human attacks. In the High Council chamber on Luminara Prime, the Etherians watched in awe as humanity demonstrated why peace must sometimes be defended with overwhelming force. We need to learn from them, Supreme Light Bearer Celestis declared, his earlier arrogance replaced by humility. Not just their weapons or tactics, but their understanding of the galaxy's true nature. The final void ship vanished into a quantum singularity of its own making, leaving behind only a haunting silence and a changed galaxy. The human fleet began reverting to its standard configuration, its crews separating from the quantum network. Admiral Patel, her consciousness fully her own again, opened a channel to the Etherian High Council. Now you understand. We're not warriors because we love war. We're warriors because someone has to be ready to face the darkness. Will you join us in defending the light? The response would change the course of galactic history forever. Would you like me to continue with the final part? The story will conclude with the transformation of the Etherian Collective and the establishment of a new galactic order. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, the crystalline spires of Luminara Prime had been transformed. Where once they housed poetry and art alone, they now contained some of the most advanced military training facilities in the galaxy. The change wasn't just physical, it was philosophical. Admiral Patel stood beside First Light Harbinger Luminaris on the observation deck of the newly christened Etherian Defense Academy. Below them, human instructors worked with Etherian cadets, teaching them the art of survival. Your people learn quickly, Patel observed, watching an Etherian squad execute a perfect defensive formation. When you finally decided to embrace change, you didn't hesitate. Luminaris's bioluminescence pulsed with pride and determination. We had 10,000 years of peace to perfect our ability to learn. We simply needed the right teachers to show us what we should be learning. The training ground erupted in controlled chaos as the cadets faced a simulated void ship attack. Their responses showed a blend of traditional Etherian precision and human tactical innovation. They're not just copying our methods, Commander Reeves reported as he joined them. They're evolving them, integrating their own cultural strengths. Watch. Below, an Etherian cadet used her species' natural ability to manipulate light to create a perfect holographic decoy, confusing the simulation's targeting systems. Another squad had modified human shield technology to resonate with their crystalline biology, creating defensive barriers that were both beautiful and deadly. We never understood, Luminaris admitted, watching his people's transformation. We thought peace meant the absence of conflict. You showed us it means having the strength to prevent it. The observation deck's quantum screens activated, showing feeds from across Etherian space. Their once decorative ships were being retrofitted with real defenses. Their artistic installations now doubled as early warning systems. Even their famous crystal cities had developed the ability to shift into fortress configurations. The Collective's Council meets tomorrow, Luminaris said. We'll be voting on the proposed alliance charter. Patel nodded. The charter would formalize what had begun in the aftermath of the void ship attack, a partnership between humanity's strength and the Etherians' vast cultural knowledge. Supreme Light Bearer Celestis has been particularly vocal in his support, Luminaris continued. His exact words were, "True enlightenment comes not from avoiding darkness, but from being strong enough to illuminate it. An alert chimed through the quantum network. The prototype of the new joint human-Etherian defense vessel was ready for its first trial run. Named Dawn Warrior, it combined human military technology with Etherian crystal engineering in ways that would have seemed impossible a year ago. "Shall we?" Patel gestured toward the landing pad where a shuttle waited. As they walked, they passed more training grounds. Human Marines teaching Etherian cadets hand-to-hand combat. Etherian scientists helping human engineers integrate crystalline technology into their quantum systems. Two cultures that had seemed incompatible now strengthening each other. The Dawn Warrior hung in orbit above Luminara Prime, its hull a seamless blend of human metamaterials and Etherian crystals. Unlike the purely artistic vessels of the past, this ship was built for a purpose to defend peace through strength. The void ships weren't the end, Patel said as they boarded. They were just the first wave. The galaxy is darker than your people imagined, but also full of more possibilities than mine considered. Luminaris touched a crystal control panel, interfacing with the ship's hybrid systems. Then we'll face that darkness together. Humanity taught us how to fight. Perhaps we can teach you what's worth fighting for. The Dawn Warrior's engines ignited, a perfect fusion of human power and Etherian precision. As they broke orbit, more ships rose to join them in honor guard of human and Etherian vessels flying in formation. To think, Luminaris mused, a year ago, we thought you were the barbarians we needed to enlighten. Now we understand you were the guardians we needed to become. Admiral Patel smiled as she watched the combined fleet maneuver. That's the greatest lesson humanity ever learned. Peace isn't a gift. It's a responsibility. One that sometimes requires teeth. The Dawn Warrior accelerated into quantum space, its crystal-enhanced drives creating a display that was both tactically efficient and breathtakingly beautiful. Behind it, the combined fleet followed, each ship a testament to what could be achieved when wisdom learned to be strong. In the void between stars, where the Devourers had once hunted unchallenged, a new force had risen. Not just humanity's strength or the Etherians' enlightenment, but something greater, the power of a civilization that had learned to be both wise and strong. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the darkness, the next threat waited, unaware that its potential prey had learned the most important lesson of all. Run from the dark, and it consumes you. Stand and fight, and you might just become the light. This concludes the story, bringing together themes of cultural exchange, the necessity of strength, and the evolution of civilization. Would you like me to create a YouTube-optimized title and description for this series?